What's going on, Jerome's? So Minnesota fighting Vikings general manager Kwesi adofo-mensah absolutely cooked, flambéed the 2024 NFL draft, notably securing 2 first-round picks at 2 premium positions. Quarterback of the future, J.J. McCarthy, about to get lit up by future Vikings talisman on the edge, Dallas Turner. That's right. Roll Tide. So I'm in love with the draft, and I feel like even the most fervent and ardent Kwesi haters got to be like, okay. I'm in. All right, but with Turner, yes, the Vikings traded up with the Texans initially, giving up 2 seconds to get up to 23, and then the move up with the Jaguars, giving up a 4th and a future 3rd and 4th to get from 23 to 17. I understand that's a lot of picks for one guy, but also you have to understand that in my mind, Dallas Turner is the best defensive player in this draft. He's at a premium position, and even though the Vikings were certainly racked up and stacked up on the edge with Grenard and Van Ginkel, Jihad Ward coming on in, replacing Danielle Hunter, Kwesi understood that this is a absolute premium position. It's a passer, get the passer league, and frankly, I mean, I know that Kwesi's gotten criticism before of just being the spreadsheet guy. No, but this, at the end of the day, was a football move. Hey, get the best possible players at the best possible positions. All right, and you can never have enough dudes who can rush the passer, right? Long story longer. So Bill Barnwell, noted personality over at ESPN, respect his work. But I feel like he really likes pressing down on the scale against the Minnesota fighting Vikings, which they all seem to do, right? So he did up a long form piece. Should teams trade up in the NFL draft? Lessons from past deals. Now, Barnwell's analytically leaning, and it feels like all the analytics people's like, do not trade up. Never trade up. It does not match up with the chart. And as we said, like trade ups in general in the first round, as well as especially into the top 5, throughout the charts. The charts are worthless or meaningless. Just get rid of them. Right? But Barnwell goes on a long tangent about the Vikings and specifically the trade up for Turner. The Vikings moving up twice to land Dallas Turner. While the Vikings landed a 2nd first-round pick in March in the hopes of trading into the top 3, the fact they weren't able to do so means they essentially lit draft capital on fire when it wasn't necessary. Oh, really? Oh, really? Because, hey, as far as I know, lighting draft capital on fire, you still got your quarterback, maybe even the quarterback 1 that you wanted at 10, as well as you got the best edge rusher in the class at 17. Oh, for my money, that's... That's good. It's pretty damn good. And, they failed to trade into the top 5. Okay. As we said at the time, I love the move by Kwesi because it gave the Vikings this beautiful floor, and they realized that floor. Whereas, I mean, yeah, they could have traded up, sure, but if the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, they could stick and pick at 11, 23, ultimately 10 and 17. Perfectly fine with that. Lighting things on fire. They ended up making a modest move from 11 to 10 to land quarterback J.J. McCarthy, a deal I will take no issue with. Oh, well, that's good. Billy Barnwell takes no issue with it. Great. Especially given the upside of the quarterbacks and the likelihood the Broncos and the Raiders were considering moving up themselves. What happened afterward only became an even bigger mess when Minnesota moved up again in round 1 to land Turner. Oh, so it's an absolute mess to get potentially one of the best speed rushers in the league. Brian Burns reincarnate. That's an embarrassment. That's a snafu. Blah blah blah. Let's hear. Although I'm sure Minnesota wasn't expecting the edge rusher to be available at number 17, the price it had to pay to jump from number 42 to 23, then 23 to 17 became extravagant. Well, here's my contention. At the end of the day, is Dallas Turner good? Is Dallas Turner going to be a superstar? Yes. Is Dallas Turner a top 10 player on most people's boards? Yes. Was Dallas Turner potentially the number 1 player on the Vikings defensive draft board? Yes. So, yeah. In the end, the Vikings sent their 2nd, 5th, and 6th. Oh, not the 5th and 6th. Oh, no. In 2024, and the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round picks in 2025 to add Turner. By the Stewart chart, this deal is a nightmare. Now, I consider myself a draft nerd. And I know that there's a bajillion different charts. I mean, yeah, of course, the Jimmy Johnson famous chart. You have the Fitz and Spielberger chart. You have all the different charts, right? But I've never heard of the Stewart chart, which is weird because I love and respect Chase Stewart's work over at Football Perspective, but I had never heard of this chart. And this chart was apparently made in 2012. So the fact that Barnwell is really reaching and really cherry picking charts just to throw a brick at Kwesi and the Vikings. I mean, this talks about their desperation. They paid more than double what the number 17 pick typically returns. They gave up something close to the equivalent of the number 1 pick in a typical draft to land Turner by the Stewart chart. Okay, but here's the thing as well. That's a wrong graphic. This is not a normal draft. In a normal draft, Dallas Turner probably goes top 10, maybe even top 5. But the fact that 6 quarterbacks went in the top 6, you had a run on tackles, you had a run on receivers, push the defensive players down the board. Latu was the first defensive player taken at 15, and it's a spot where this is not the normal number 17 pick. All right, so in any other draft class, Turner's probably one of the first defensive players taken and probably easily a top 10 pick. But because of the weird dynamic this year with quarterbacks and receivers and tackles, that's where he was pushed down. Blah, blah, blah. All right, so the deal was much more reasonable by the Johnson chart. Oh, thank you, Jimmy, which painted it as a 25% premium. But don't be fooled. Kwesi adofo-mensah has made myriad trades over his 2 previous drafts as Vikings general manager. Many of those trades look like mistakes by the Johnson chart and victories by the more analytically inclined models, including Stewart's. Unless you think adofo-mensah and his front office suddenly recalculated all their draft pick models and decided to take day 2, blah, blah. So Kwesi's previous trades, which of course famously included the Lewis Seaton one going from 12 to 32 in division. See, by the newer model analytical charts, they liked the trades, right? And the Jimmy Johnson charts completely roasted Kwesi. But I think what it comes down to is Kwesi is moving out of his, Kwesi says that he's still a spreadsheet guy, but he's merging his spreadsheet analytical mind with football mind. Because, I mean, that first trade, you moving down 20 spots and not getting a future first-round pick from a division rival, that doesn't sit right. But then, the trade up for Dallas Turner, I mean, that's a football guy move. So, and also he's pissing on the analytical chart. So Barnwell is basically mad that the analytical nerds finally thought that they had one of their GMs, hashtag one of us. And then Kwesi just like full on turncoat on. You were the chosen one. And so now he made a football guy move, which I kind of love, man. I mean, there's balance. I mean, there's room for both. Adofo-mensah is smart and framed his this correctly for the fan base. Obviously, I'm a spreadsheet guy myself, the general manager said, but sometimes you got to step out there from take your Clark Kent glasses off, have a championship mindset, and swing for a great player. If Turner wants to be a superstar, Vikings fans will be satisfied, even if the process that led to the team there isn't thrilling. According to who? I mean, hey, Bill Barnwell, I'm sorry that you're not thrilled about the move, but hey, I'm pretty thrilled. I'm pretty thrilled to have J.J. McCarthy and Dallas frickin' Turner on this team. Sorry. I do not care the number of draft picks that it took. I really don't. Is this really time for the Vikings to take that swing, though? They're coming off a 7-10 season and 13-4 the season before. Before that was the mirage of all mirages. Rare. Okay. As they were outscored, and I forgot about point differential. Blah, 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 blah. Now after McCarthy and Turner, they had no other top 100 picks in 2024 and are down their second, third, and fourth round picks in 2025. They'll get a third round comp pick for Kirk Cousins, blah, 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 blah. So basically, I mean, Bill Barnwell's mad. He is majorly mad about the Minnesota Vikings, but, it's perfectly fine. Again, Barnwell is a very analytically inclined analyst, and he can have his own opinion, sure. But at the end of the day, the Minnesota Vikings got 2 absolute pipe hitters in J.J. McCarthy and especially Dallas Turner. I think they're both going to be superstars, especially Turner right away. I think Turner is going to be a ton of fun. And I know that everyone is freaking out. It's like, well, the Vikings mortgaged their future. Well, again, let's recap. So they didn't give up any 2026 picks, which they easily could have, three first rounders. They didn't give up their first round pick in 2025, which I was told that that's really important. And again, the media would talk out of both sides of their mouth. What about the hit rate on those mid-round picks? It's really low, blah, blah, blah. But now the Vikings, without a 2-3-4, even though they're getting a 3 back, so they're really just out a 2-4. It's the end of the world. It's the apocalypse. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And, the Vikings, Kwesi, if he wants more picks, they got a ton of cap space next year so they could supplement the rooster. But if he wants more picks, he could trade down from 1. He could trade in camp this year. Maybe some teams are like, hey, Andrew Booth Jr., hey, Caleb Evans, hey, Lewis Seen, Mama, I can change him. And then maybe the Vikings will get some late round draft compensation that way. Is that what they want? Hey, if Kwesi is able to turn these 5 picks into 8 all of a sudden, that's a really good draft. Nah. So I feel fine with what Kwesi did here. They got 2 studs in the first round. And frankly, again, I honestly feel like Barnwell and the analytics community are just mad at Kwesi because they finally thought that they had an analytics guy who's just going to listen to them and their stupid charts all the time. And then Kwesi's like, nah, I'm going to do football guy stuff. And they're so pissed. It's funny, man. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Bill Barnwell absolutely hates the Dallas Turner trade, but it's okay. I'll take him. Roll Tide. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.